Pension Secretariat and Ministry of Finance on schedule to deliver retroactive payment by November 15. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. For Friday, September 2nd, I am Rikisha St. Louis. Head of the government-established Pension Secretariat, Tonya Adams, says to date 80% of the pension applications have been reviewed and transferred to the Accountant General's office for further evaluation, pending the November 30th payment deadline. The Secretariat was re-established in August following the Deacon Mitchell-led administration's commitment to make the retroactive payments to retired public officers who were employed in the service after February 22, 1985. She said over 500 applications have been received and processed so far.
We continue to collect new applications to date. We would have commenced or reinstituted the Secretariat on the 15th of August 2022, and we continue to have frequent traffic of retired individuals. The Secretariat will review, first and foremost, do a frontline analysis of all the applications that we have, ensure that those applications are complete and we have all the requisite information to continue the processing from the Accountant General's office and then further to the Audit Department. The Accountant General's office will verify the calculations of the applications that were submitted, the eligible applications, and then the Audit Department will verify these calculations and approve the application for payment.
Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Deacon Mitchell, and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance, Mike Sylvester, visited the Secretariat on Friday. Prime Minister Mitchell expressed satisfaction with the process and encouraged the recipients to invest in the local economy.
In a sense, I don't want them to feel they need to be grateful to me. They worked hard to build the country, and I think our job is to recognize that when people work hard, they should be rewarded. And I'm not sure it's a reward, but the entitlement should be given to them. So I just want to reassure them that we are committed to making this work. I also want to give a little bit of free advice that when you do get the pension money, that you invest it wisely, you use it wisely. And we wanted to stay in Grenada, so please invest back in the economy of Grenada. Support local businesses. There are a lot of young persons who are trying to start their own businesses, who are trying to provide services. There are a lot of people trying to get into agriculture and agro-processing. So if you are looking for investments, the SUSU still works. You could always find a way to support the small businesses, the new business persons who are trying to start businesses, and to use it wisely so that it stays with you and helps to actually improve your standard of living.
Government continues to consult with unions and stakeholders as it prepares to make the payments. P.S. Sylvester announced that the retroactive payments will be made from the Consolidated Fund.
We are on track in a sense to complete by November the 15th. In terms of the payment, that as well was also sort of working through, and the government would have indicated that would come from the Consolidated Fund. So the idea is to make sure that we engage the bank early so that they're prepared, because it's going to be a significant withdrawal, if you want to call it, at a particular point in time. And so they would have to prepare for that in addition to all other payments that they would have to make, because around that time as well you have salaries and so on being paid. So in that context, I think we are sort of working with all the stakeholders to ensure that the cabinet decision is implemented successful.
For more information, interested persons can contact the Pension Secretariat at 424-4962. That number again, 424-4962, or email pensionsecretariat@gov.gd. A shortage of nurses remains a challenge for Grenada and other Caribbean governments, especially as they create added setbacks in the delivery of healthcare. St. George's University is one of the institutions offering nursing education at the bachelor's level, which can help to mitigate the problem in some measure. During a recent nursing induction, Grenada's Health Minister, Senator Jonathan Lacrette, underscored the importance of nursing in the overall delivery of healthcare. He told the students that they have the responsibility and mandate to ensure that they serve well in their new profession.
Never been more important in meeting the healthcare needs of a growing number of patients with a wide variety of healthcare complications. Always something new on the horizon that presents a new branch of research, even in your nursing capacity. You have the responsibility to ensure that as the backbone of our healthcare industry, you have a serious mandate that has been thrust upon you to ensure that you do this profession well.
Minister Leclerc charged the inductees to always deliver high standards of care.
So those who have gone before you have long delivered a high standard of care to the general public through the relationships that they have fostered with parents and also with other healthcare practitioners. The induction into the profession speaks to your commitment to your profession and your commitment to strengthen and bring a degree of resilience. I want you to hear me. To strengthen and to bring a degree of resilience to our healthcare sector. As a small island state, our healthcare infrastructure is not where it should be. Thus, we are vulnerable. You have a serious mandate to ensure that the general public sees health literacy as a priority and a top agenda item.
Continuing the news, Education Minister Senator the Honorable David Andrew says final preparations are being made to ensure a successful reopening of school on Monday, September 5th. On Tuesday, during the government's post-cabinet press briefing, Minister Andrew announced that remedial and construction work continue on several institutions. However, the Ministry of Education is working closely with the Ministry of Infrastructural Development to make alternative arrangements to mitigate any delays to the scheduled reopening. He said a few grades of the St. David's RC School will be relocated to the community center as the scope of renovations exceeded initial expectations. However, all students will commence school on Monday.
They were able to identify, so part of that school would have to be relocated while they address the repairs on one section of the school. It would be cordoned off and carefully secured to make sure there's no risk to our student population on Monday. And there'll be 3 grades using the community center. And with the assistance of the community and very helpful residents, we're working along with Education and Ministry of Works, Ministry of Implementation, to prepare the site appropriately for housing those students and those grades on the 5th. So even then, school is going to resume relatively as per usual, bearing those adjustments in St. David's RC on the 5th of September.
The minister commended the level of community support to ensure that delays were minimized.
There is also ongoing repairs in some schools, but nothing that would affect the ability of the schools to welcome and receive students safely on Monday, 5th September. So we are happy to report that. So whatever other works that may be taking place will not interrupt the school. Now you may hear some other projects, but some of those are going to be, they wouldn't affect school, and so we wouldn't necessarily discuss them at this point. In some of the schools, we found quite a lot of community support and participation to see the schools back in place. For instance, we've had crews organizing to help with cleaning, with power washing in some places, wanting to paint, and we appreciate and want to put on record our profound support and appreciation for that kind of support and help that our community residents have given to us in preparing our schools for reopening.
This is the National Report. The news will continue after the break.
Prepare for hurricane. Prepare for hurricane. Make sure you have your radio and your batteries too. Waterproof flashlight candles will do. Tin stuff, garbage bag, first aid kit. Come on people, make sure you have it. Clean water in a container and a hurricane plan. Hear me no man.
Hurricane damage is beyond your control. Surviving the aftermath is up to you. Have a hurricane plan. It can save your life and your family too.
Prepare for hurricane. Your hair, prepare for hurricane.
Welcome back. Minister of State with Responsibility for Youth, Sports and Culture, Honorable Ron Redhead, has pledged government support for the development of sports through dialogue and inclusion of all stakeholders. During a meeting this week with staff of the Division of Sports, Minister Redhead also said that the sports policy, which is high on the transformation agenda, will be implemented in a phased approach. The meeting providing an opportunity for the minister to note the concerns and have a greater appreciation of the challenges faced by staff, with a view to crafting solutions and shaping policies for the future of sports in the country. Another priority for the government is sports education. Minister Redhead said while it is important to support athletes, the men and women who contribute to their development should be given opportunities to improve their craft, and as such, a percentage of the National Lottery Authority's profit will go towards this. The meeting was also addressed by Mr. Norman Gilbert, Permanent Secretary with Responsibility for Youth, Sports and Culture. He commended staff for the work done to support the development of athletes and also recognized the local athletes for their achievements, both regionally and internationally. Mr. Gilbert also noted that the implementation of the sports policy will positively impact the ministry's functions, and coaches will have a key role to play in this regard. The policy will focus on developing sports at the grassroots level, with coaching being an important part of this agenda. Finally, in the news, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture on Thursday wrapped up a 4-day preparatory workshop for coaches to return to primary schools across the nation as physical education teachers in the new school term. The workshop included practical and theoretical exercises, and participants were exposed to areas such as characteristics of children, games creation, class and term plan, child protection, and physical education as a professional. Senior coach in the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, Natalie Regis, believes the objectives of the workshop were met with 4 days of fun and intense exercises.
It took a lot of brain power to learn new skills in terms of planning and preparing to go and deliver all of the biomotor and the general locomotor skills that the youngsters will need to create physical literacy. As to regards to how we go about it in a class structure, like a PE setting, we also elaborated quite a bit on, getting every aspect of it and how we include it in. So that took quite a bit, and you can see the interest was there, and the eagerness to learn and share was definitely there, and that we have to applaud. Even yesterday, for example, when we were doing our child protection workshop, persons didn't want to leave, even though time was up, but it was really good to see and get that level of interaction and feedback from the workshop.
Denver Walsh is the Physical Education Curriculum Development Officer in the Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture. He is confident that the participants are ready to execute what they have learned from the workshop to teach and identify talents in the school system that will contribute to great athletes in the future.
I would say they are now in a better position to be able to execute, especially some of the skills to be able to get the students to understand, to be able to teach some of these skills more so that is required within the program. So I'm very much confident with what was done here over the past few days.
The physical education teachers will be playing a key role in the planning and execution of sporting events in the schools. 2 coaches shared their experiences from the workshop.
I think it was really excellent. I learned a lot. I mean, most of it I knew, but there's a lot of things that you get missed during the years, and you come now and you get it and you're like, whoa.
It was great. On my ends, I learned a lot, and I know the coaches as well have learned a lot of knowledge being shared in the workshop, even with the child protection, which was a very good one. I enjoyed it, and I know the coaches that they did enjoy it as well based on the feedback I got from them.
That story just ended the national report for Friday, September 2nd, recapping the top story. Pension, Secretariat and Ministry of Finance on schedule to deliver retroactive payment by November 15. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Rikisha St. Louis.